Sir Patrick Stewart's Professor X is considered one of the most perfect casting choices of all time. It is really hard to imagine anyone else in the role. However, many celebrities actually auditioned for the part, including the King of Pop, Michael Jackson. So, what if he had been the one to play Professor X? With production on the first Bryan Singer X-Men movie well and truly underway, it should come as no surprise that the cast was far from set in stone. Initially, Dougray Scott and Viggo Mortensen were in consideration to play Wolverine, Jim Caviezel at one point was set to play Cyclops, and likely most surprising, Michael Jackson auditioned for the role of Professor X. Michael was a very well-documented comic book fan, keeping an extensive collection at Neverland Ranch, and even had his sights set on playing Spider-Man in 1996. He would read Marvel Comics in between his performances as part of the Jackson 5 when he was a child. Playing a Marvel character on the big screen had been a lifelong dream of his. Michael would meet with director Bryan Singer and producer Lauren Shula Donner in 1999, along with another left-field choice, Shaquille O'Neal. No, I'm not kidding. He also auditioned for Professor X at this point. Now, Michael was reportedly very polite to everybody and was extremely interested in bagging this role. Donner would ask Michael if he's aware that Professor X is an old white man, and Michael was very aware, and to prove he could pull it off anyway, he presented the team with his short film, Ghosts, where he wore heavy makeup to play the Old Man Mayer character. However, Fox reportedly never considered him as a serious candidate for the part. They wanted Sir Patrick Stewart, since Laura Schuler Donner's husband, Richard Donner, had worked with Stewart on 1997's Conspiracy Theory. Ultimately, in the end, it would in fact be Sir Patrick Stewart who landed the part, going on to portray Professor X several more times, and will reportedly be returning to the role in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. As for Michael, sadly, the closest he ever got to being in a Marvel movie was a cameo appearance in Men in Black 2.
How'd it go?
Zed, the Jolocks are gone and the treaty is signed.
Good work.
Zed, what about that position you promised me in Men in Black?
Still working on the Alien Affirmative Action Program. I'll keep you posted.
Wait a minute, that's not what you promised me.
You're breaking up.
Zed?
Can't hear you.
Hello?
I'll call you back.
I can be Agent M. Zed, you...
So what do I think of Michael Jackson as Professor X? Well, okay, you guys probably remember from the Spider-Man video, I am a massive Michael Jackson fanboy. I like to dress up like him sometimes. I'm wearing a Michael Jackson t-shirt as we speak, and his music is almost the only music I listen to, honestly. Like, him, Prince, and the Beatles are the only people I ever listen to, honestly. So to say I'm a bit biased towards Michael would be an understatement, but hear me out. I actually don't think he would be that bad, because yeah, I mean, the old man makeup in Ghost was really good. Like, seriously, like, really good. I've seen people react to that video and they have no idea it's him, so like, it's pretty convincing. And he does have kind of the, you know, comforting, you know, aura, you know what I mean, that is associated with Professor X. But he can also be serious. Like, there's times in his, you know, videos where he'll snap, you know, and he'll get angry, and it's not forced, you know what I mean? Like, he gets a little bit angry in Ghost, and it doesn't come off as forced, even though he has kind of a lighter voice. And he would probably change his voice. Like, if they wanted him to go with a British accent, he said that he could do a British accent, a fairly convincing one. So, you know, I'll take his word on that. But would it be for the best for him to play Professor X? That's a different question. Because while I do admit he could play Professor X, I don't know if he should have, because For a couple of reasons. First of all, the set of the first X-Men movie was apparently very toxic. Lots of children from that movie have come out with accusations about Bryan Singer, which I do believe, because Bryan Singer does seem the type, in my opinion. And, Michael, I don't believe in the accusations made towards Michael Jackson. I don't like to be political, but I do not believe in those accusations. I really do think Michael Jackson was misunderstood. And for that reason, I think he would be uncomfortable on the set of this movie because he liked children, not in that way. He liked to be optimistic about the future and he liked to treat children, well. And if Bryan Singer was treating them badly on set, I'm pretty sure it would upset him and he would probably not want to do it anymore. In my opinion, he would probably leave if he saw that, or else he would try and get Bryan Singer fired, which with his caliber, he possibly could have. I don't know. But yeah, and then even if things went swimmingly, even if he nailed the role, if he was really good in it, and nothing bad happened on set to make him leave, then there's also the fact that he would have been accused again in the early 2000s, and they might have ended up, firing him and hiring somebody else. Or if they kept him, he would still probably die in 2009, sadly. And then they would have to recast him, and then they would have to go the second half of the series with somebody else. They'd have to do Days of Future Past and Logan with a different actor, and then it wouldn't be as good, So yeah, even though I think Michael Jackson absolutely could have done it, he was an insanely underrated actor. Every single one of his music videos, I thought he did really good with the acting. And it's hard to imagine him being off his feet for long periods of time. I won't lie, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what he was hoping for because he was already so exhausted by this point in his career. And yeah, the prosthetics would do him favors, but ultimately I do think it was for the best that Patrick Stewart got the part instead because then they wouldn't have to spend money on getting facial prosthetics because he's really old and he's really bald. And then there's the fact that he's naturally British, and he's a natural fit for the part. You know what I mean? And he did so many good things in the role. He was born to play Professor X, in my opinion. So even though I definitely think Michael could have done a good job as Professor X, even though I'm a huge fan of Michael, I do think they made the right decision choosing Patrick Stewart. If he were still alive, I would love to see a variant of Michael Jackson as Professor X in a future MCU movie. That would be really cool. But unfortunately, he has passed away, and so that won't happen. But it's kind of an interesting thing to think about, at least. But I honestly think it's stranger to imagine Shaquille O'Neal as Professor X. Seriously, can you guys imagine Shaquille O'Neal as Professor X? I cannot imagine that. That would be the weirdest thing ever. But let me know in the comments down below what you think of the idea of Michael Jackson playing Professor X. Again, I know I don't like to make videos political, so if you guys don't agree with my beliefs about Michael Jackson, I understand. I do understand, and I hope it doesn't affect how you view the video. But yeah, I do actually think, regardless of what you believe about him, he could have played Professor X. I think he had the acting chops. I think the makeup would do him favors, and yeah, he just kind of has a warm presence, which I think Professor X needs to have. So I do think he could have pulled it off. But let me know about it in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with all of your friends on all your various social media platforms. And speaking of social media, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Rinzler_Productions, and I'll see all of you tomorrow in the next video.